Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to those outside of the continent of the United States. Welcome to another edition of My Take Presidential Elections 2020, where we give a rundown of the election cycle and how we try to upend and unseat the current president that's in the White House because we believe we want an America that drives our future, drives our narrative, a strong America, an America that's representative of everybody, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, everybody. So right now, America is at the crossroads. We have a president who has not been representative of all the people. It's been chaos. We're in battle in a racial divide as it's never been seen in this country for years and years. Uh, the current pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, which the White House doesn't seem to have a handle on it. So we are at a crossroads in America as it is right now, and we need all hands on deck. We need everybody that is eligible to vote, every immigrant that is eligible to vote, to register to vote and vote. In this particular case, there are only two viable candidates on the ticket right now. It's Donald Trump, who's an incumbent president, and Joe Biden, who's the guy trying to unseat him. And so the vote right now is to vote incumbent out, vote Trump out, so we have an America that's stable, an America that drives and forge ahead for other countries to follow. And so the purpose of this show is kind of enlighten a lot of folks, to bring everybody on the table, all immigrants who are sound, reasonable mind. Some people on the Trump wagon, we cannot unfortunately get them off. But those who are in the middle of the ballpark, who have questions, who have questioned the VP nominee for the Democratic Party in the last two editions, who have tried to highlight some of her strength, why she made some of the decisions that she made. We've pointed on her background. They started all kinds of attacks, and recently they've had attacks on her birth citizenship. Is she eligible to run as VP in America if she was not born in America? And they've questioned whether she needed to have had one parent at least be a U.S. citizen. So we'll develop on that as we take a short break and develop on those theses at the other end. So, okay.
To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.
Are you looking for photography service for your upcoming event? Is it a wedding, an engagement, or a special event? Look no further. Jojo Texan Images is here. Hire him today for great quality pictures, a quality service provided on the day, and a great personality. Jojo Texan Images is on social media. Follow him Instagram and Facebook at Jojo Texan Images or call him 312-450-5235 and book your appointments today. Jojo Texan Images. Simply excellent. Book him now.
Thank you, and thank you for your patience. Like you saw the commercials, we encourage everybody who's out there that wants to be a sponsor to contact us so we could promote your business on our platform. We would talk about that, but we need so many African businesses. We need to help put out the African business content out there. So if you're an African business, if you're a business owner, it doesn't really matter if you're African or not and you want to promote your business, this is a platform for you. We do have commercial segments where we could put in your content. So contact us. We'll post the number shortly. The number will be posted. So contact us for your content. Promote your business so the world can see your business so we know what it is that you're selling. And that number is 773-312-0318. And without further ado, we're going to get into the crux of the matter today. So after the last show, we were just going through some comment sections and a few reactions about still again, Kamala Harris. She's not. A few black people are not sold to her, and we talked about it at length. And one of the question Dr. Omar, a prominent psychologist within the black community, had presented was that he questions if Kamala Harris is actually black because he believes that there's a fair segment of the Caribbean Jamaican population that are mostly from East India or Southern Asia, which is India, the country India. And he postulated that her father is in India. And in that segment, we said again, and we're going to reiterate in this segment that Kamala Harris' father is a black man. I don't know of any Indians who bear Harris. He has put forth history, histogram for his legacy. So there's no need digging who his grandparents are, or who his parents are, or who Kamala Harris' grandparents are. We looked at the man. The man has put forth his history. He's a descendant of the Jamaican slaves that were on the island. I think he has some whiteness in him. It has not been confirmed, but definitely there is blackness in him. He's a man that considers himself a black man, and because of that, his lineage, which is Kamala Harris's lineage, is a black descending lineage. And I'll take some time and just go over the exact narrative of what Dr. Omar said. Dr. Omar said, has anyone been able to locate any photos of Kamala Harris' paternal grandparents? Her father being born in Jamaica does not necessarily mean he's of African descent. Jamaica, like most Caribbean islands, are overrun with East Indians. It's no different than a white person being born in Africa calling themselves an African. We need photos of her Jamaican grandparents. And like I said, this is a distraction. This is another moot point that needs to be kicked off. Dr. Omar is well respected within the community, but he has also put forth a lot of theories that have not conspiracy theories that have not proven accurate. So there's no need looking for, because once they produce the grandparents, he's going to ask for the great grandparents and the great grandparents and 5 generations back to establish that the woman has some amount of blackness in her. At this point, to Dr. Omar, it does not matter at this point. She is not claiming to be African American, and I think that the mainstream media needs to correct that. Kamala Harris is not an African American, and what I mean by African American, she does not come directly from slave line. She's not a descendant of a slave that was already in America. So for those people, they are considered African Americans in this country, right? Every black person in the world traces their roots back to Africa. So, but in her case, she's a black woman. So the media has been very careful. Most of the times I've been very careful to label her the first black woman and the first Asian woman, because she doubles in both categories as a black woman and as an Asian woman. They are not mutually exclusive. It does not mean that because you're Asian, you cannot be black. You can be black and you can be Asian, just as you can be black and you can be Latino. So we have established that, and we will continue to establish that until those who are skeptic, because the alternative is Trump. If you're not voting for Joe Biden because you don't think Kamala Harris is black enough, then you're saying the alternative is Trump. And we're trying to get you off of that bandwagon that this is a moot point. We need to move past this. We need to start talking about the issues. So in the last couple of days, Donald Trump's son-in-law, the one who's Jared Kushner, who's married to Ivanka Trump, pushed the idea that she was born in America, but not of American parents. Like we know that her father from Jamaica and her mother from India met in America during the civil rights movement, and they were part of that, and they connected and they got married, and they had Kamala Harris and her sister Maya. So there's no law that states that you have to be a natural born citizen before you have American children. Any child born on American soil is an American citizen. So Kamala Harris already fits that. And Trump echoed sentiments towards that. And this is the problem. You don't have the people asking. You don't see the Dr. Omars questioning Trump. It's one thing to say she's not black, but it's a whole different ballgame saying she's not an American citizen, whereas she is an American citizen. So I would ask Dr. Omar, I would ask the people who are saying that she's not black to confirm if at least she is an American citizen. And if she is an American citizen, are they having a problem with Trump pushing the narrative out there and his son-in-law, who's a top political figure on his campaign, that she is not an American, the birther conspiracy that was done on Obama. So there's this narrative that happens to come to immigrants. When it was Obama, it was the same birther thing. It's Kamala Harris is the same birther thing. But we need to remind ourselves that John McCain, Mitt Romney, these are people that were not born on the soil of the U.S. And there was never a birther debate about them being American or them being born in America. So it has that tendency to feel that when it's a black person or when it's a minority, they want to alienate you and say you're not fit, you're not qualified to run for office because you were not born here, which is not true. So people who are supporting, people in the middle who are leaning Trump and looking at this thing, you have to sit back and say, this is not what I support. This is not what I am for. I have to be for a candidate that respects the woman's ability to govern. Kamala Harris is way more qualified, having been the DA, the AG, the DA for San Francisco, the AG for California, and the sitting senator for the state of California. So she is more qualified than Obama was when he ran for president and won in 2008. We should not be fooled by that. This woman is absolutely qualified to be president on day one, even though she's running for vice president. So with that being said, again, I would address another comment, because we need to put this thing to rest. There's a lot of black people out there who are using shadows to say they're not going to vote for her. But essentially what they're saying is we need our own to start running for office. And if you need your own, I will support you. Just have your own run and be qualified. Kamala Harris is an American. She is there to represent all of us. So the other question that came up, the other reaction that came up in the comment section again, was a friend that reached out to me and said, there's a lot of people talking about this. This is a little lengthy, but I'll go through it. Kamala Harris' father had a PhD and was a professor at Stanford. Her mom also had a PhD and was a professor at U of I and U of W, I think that's Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin and University of Illinois. Both her parents had earned their PhD by the age of 25. This was in 1963. Kamala Harris was born late 1964. My point to all of this is the fact that Kamala had a very privileged upbringing. She never lived in the hood or had to rely on state benefits to pay the rent or buy your food. This woman lived in a nice home, nice neighborhood, wore the nicest clothes, and was given whatever she wanted. Now she claims to be black. She claims to live in the hood. She claims she can relate to oppression as a Black woman. She wants reparation for all Black people. Her grandfather owned slaves in Jamaica. Well, she is not a Black woman. She cannot relate to lower class or those who are homeless. She is used to spending other people's money without care. She she had a known sexual affair with a married man who bought her an expensive car and gave her thousands of dollars. She has no experience in managing a business or owning a business. She has done nothing to improve inner city or Black communities while in political office. So that is a comment apparently coming from a Black person castigating Kamala's record because she thinks, one, she is not Black, two, she doesn't have the qualification, and she is not poor. So, and this is the narrative that I don't get. Do I have to be poor to understand inner city lifestyle? Do I have to have lived in the inner cities to understand what inner city kids are going through? Do I have to stay and live in Illinois? Do I have to live in Southeast DC to witness the gunshots and everything to understand the plight of these people? Is that the narrative? Because that's the narrative. Would have never elected the last 45 all white but one Black president, right? That has never been an issue. So why are Blacks raising these issues now? Why are some of the Black Americans coming up with this issue to say the woman cannot relate to poor people? Shouldn't your role model be somebody that you aspire to be? Shouldn't your role model be something that you drive up, you're looking up to become? Shouldn't you have, if you're in the poor neighborhood, shouldn't your role model be somebody that has probably lived there and is out of there, or somebody that has never lived there that can guide you on how to move out of poverty? What is the notion that somebody is privileged and they cannot understand poverty? What is that belief system? So only a poor person can be president because Trump is a billionaire. He has zero clues when it comes to poverty. He has never been poor. He has been rich his entire life. So what is the opposite? Are you saying you're not going to vote? And besides, Kamala is not the one running for president. She is the vice president. She would be the vice president. So what is this notion that because she grew up in a middle class, PhD holders are not rich by any stretch of the, unless they have other businesses or other things. But if you're just a professor in a university, you're not wealthy by American standards. You're middle class for the most part, right? You're a middle class family, and middle class are not, because they're the backbones of America, which means they're in between poor and in between rich, so they can relate. Kamala Harris came, and she came from a broken home. Her father divorced her mother when she was 6 years old, and her mom had to raise her. She bused to school. She was not car driven. They didn't go through a luxury system to go to school. She bused from home to school. I need to remind whoever wrote this post, because they didn't give me her name, that Kamala Harris went to an HBCU. I mean, she didn't go to Princeton, Harvard, Yale, or what have you. She went to Howard University in the District of Columbia. That's an HBCU. I mean, how much more humane and down to earth or black do you have to be to want to decide to go to an HBCU? That is the blackest thing any Black person can do. Can say, I would want to graduate from an HBCU. That is an ordinary thing for Black folks. That I would want to go to Morehouse. I would want to go to Spelman. I want to go to Langston University. I want to go to Howard University. These are Black credentials. These are things that Black people decide to do. Obama didn't go to an HBCU. Did that make him any less Black? No, but he went to Harvard. Kamala Harris went to Howard. That is the blackest thing. And she is a member of one of the largest Black sororities in the country. I mean, what is this conception about her not being Black because she has an Indian mother? What is it? I have invited people to come on the show and talk, and we're going to post the number again so that people can call in and tell us fundamentally what their problem, because it was debunked all of these things, but they still keep coming up. She's now black, and now she cannot relate to poor people. I cannot really. I grew up. I think I grew up poor in Africa, right? I think I grew up in the middle class. Was not too poor, but a middle family. But in the standards of America, that would be poor. Maybe I don't know. But I didn't grow up poor in America. But I think I can talk on poverty issues in America because the people who have been talking on poverty issues the last 45 presidents have not solved the problem. And it's not upon Kamala Harris to solve all of these problems. We need you guys to vote for candidates that can drive the narrative. And we need to know, okay, on the agenda, what does Kamala, because we can talk of her race all we want, we can talk about what she represents and all that, but what is she running on? What are they running on? What's the Joe Biden platform and what are they running on? They're running to increase the minimum wage to $15. Who has a problem with that? Republicans do because they don't want the poor people who are voting for Trump to come out of poverty. How do you come out of poverty? How do you make $7.25 an hour and come out of poverty? There's no way. You're not gonna come out of poverty at $7.25 an hour. You're not. And these are the people still voting for Trump. These are the low income people voting for Trump because they think somebody's coming to America to take America from them. Somebody's coming to take their guns. Or we're going to talk about guns on another conversation. But that is the ticket she's running on. Increase federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Who has a problem? You as a poor person, do you have a problem that Starbucks, Walmart, McDonald's, Amazon, all of these companies are paying you $15 an hour? At that point, you're able to do one job as opposed to doing two, $7, $8 jobs an hour, right? So you're making $16, but you're working twice as hard. But if you have one job paying you $15, you have time for family, you have time for school. How do you have time working two jobs and going to school? Some people have done it and succeeded, but that's not the standard, right? That's not the standard. Matter of fact, you shouldn't be working to go to school. You should go to school because school is hard. School is not easy. So you should be able to focus on just school. And if you have a preceptor program, that's something different. So on the coronavirus, which is the most important and the most pressing thing because it's affecting the economy, it's affecting every sector. We can't travel, we can't gather, we can't go to church, we can't go to parties, we can't travel the world, we can't go to work, our kids can't go to school. So many things rest on the coronavirus. So the coronavirus is affecting the entire world. And we've had a president who cannot handle, who does not know how to handle, or who does not have a handle on what the coronavirus, how to maintain or get us out of the coronavirus. So that right there should be any other president in the world, any other human being who was where Trump is today would have been running at about 25% polling. It would have been a done deal at this point, but it's not. What does America need? What do we need to do as a country for people to wake up and realize that Donald Trump has not been good for America? What needs to happen for people to realize that Donald Trump has been absolutely a disaster for America? There is not a single president, there's not a single person that can say the things Donald Trump says, do the things Donald Trump does, and act in the callous way that he does, and still have a survivability, a possibility of winning re-election. There is not a single person in the world that will do that. That is how low America has gone. That's how low the presidency has become. And everybody is saying you can elect a dog rather than Donald Trump. That is how beneath the skin, the pale at which we have dropped at the presidential level, because we have a man who just goes with the instincts. He governs with his instincts. If he thinks that this one needs to happen, that's what he needs to say. And here we are, and People are just doing whatever they want because there's no leadership. States, there's no national coronavirus plan because states don't trust him. Blue states don't trust him. Some red states don't trust him. So some states are already open. I was in Tennessee a few weeks ago, and Tennessee is a red state. It's already open for business. People are doing whatever they want to do. Some people wear masks. Some people don't wear masks. That is lack of leadership. There's no national plan for us to act in unison as a country, handle this problem and solve the problem, and then we move on to another problem. So unemployment is through the roof. There's not a single president who will survive the unemployment rates right now. Granted, that is because of the COVID, but again, in 2008, the housing economy was because of the mortgage policies that we had been put in place that later on affected the economy and bust the housing market. And so there was somebody to blame. Trump is to blame for his handling of the coronavirus. So unemployment is skyrocketing. So many companies are filing for bankruptcy. I mean, I know the games that these companies are playing, but they're still filing for bankruptcy. So more people are going to lose their jobs. Malls are now opening, are partially opened. So the economy is severely affected. And yet, when you look at the polls, Biden is leading by maybe 9 points in some, 10 points in some other ones, 11 points in some other ones. That is ridiculous. That is how crazy far right America has become. America used to be a center right country, but I don't think that the center still exists. It has just split into two. It is extreme right and meter to extreme left. So we'll come back to develop on this. Let's take a commercial break right now, and at the other end of it, we'll develop on some of the agendas that the Biden campaign is running on for you. That gives you the envy, the reason to want to vote blue this year. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for being patient, and thank you for hanging on. So, we were talking about the reasons to vote blue. We talked about the minimum wage, and we're going to talk about healthcare. Who knows the current healthcare system? When Trump came in, he kicked out Obamacare. Obamacare was very confusing. I was all for universal healthcare. There's not a single reason why we don't have a universal healthcare system. I shouldn't. I just came from an eye appointment this morning, and I paid upwards of over $375 for just my eye exam. Was about $185. The glasses, my insurance covered part of it. I had to pay part. Other requirements that needed for my glasses, because I'm gonna get my eyes are probably getting a little bad as I get older, but it is so expensive. It costs $380 something for me to get just glasses. That's just ridiculous. I mean, you go to the hospital, the bills are astronomical. Like, why should I have to make the decision to leave or pay a bill? Like, why should I look at a hospital bill and say, you know what, this is just not worth it. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I'd rather just take Tylenol at home. And this is why Americans are not willing to go to the hospital. This is why Americans are willing to self-treat, because you're thinking, I'll go to the hospital right now and they're going to serve me with a bill of $10,000, $20,000, you're going to go bankrupt. The American healthcare sector will kill you before the disease you have or the illness you have kills you. That is ridiculous. And why does nobody have a problem with this? Why is nobody saying this is a catastrophe? This is a problem. And and I fault Obama entirely. This is one of the problems I disagreed with Obama. And this is why I do not really consider myself liberal, because Obama had a blue a Senate and a blue Congress to vote for universal health care his first 2 years, and he did not do that. He prioritized other things. Now, other people would say the economy needed immediate. He had a majority the first 2 years of his term, and he didn't do that. And they're running on this agenda again for universal health care, which is a good agenda to run on. But when they get into office, they're gonna extend Obamacare. They're gonna do other things, which I disagree. I think they should run on Bernie Sanders' principle of universal health care for all. I should be able to go to the hospital, because we're 350 million people, if that. That should bring down the cost of healthcare, because the government is the guarantor of healthcare. At that point, they have scared you that if the government is doing this, you're gonna have back time. Everybody who is on some kind of welfare, is there a back time? Is there when you go to get your welfare check? Do you have to wait in line for 6 months to get your welfare check? Do you have to wait in line for 3 months to get your unemployment benefit? That is a government managed program. And if you get it on time every time, it's gonna be the same with healthcare. Let them not fool you that if the government is managing healthcare, it's gonna be delayed. There's no evidence of that in Canada. There's no evidence of that in the UK. There's no evidence of that in Sweden. There's no evidence of that across Europe or Germany and other countries that have universal healthcare system. And it's just the right. The right sees healthcare as a business for individuals to get wealthy. Health is not something you get in to get wealth. Health is a national concern. We have a national health crisis right now. People should not be getting rich. People should not be making billions in a national health crisis. We should not be we shouldn't pay for the coronavirus test. No, we shouldn't have to pay for that. Our taxes should pay for that. I'm a firm believer for cut down the size of the military, reduce the budget of the military, and reinvest that money in health. You cannot have unhealthy citizenships with a powerful military. It goes against logic. And this is because the country is still center right. The blues, the Democrats don't have the strength and the power to push an agenda that we're going to cut down the size of the military, because America thinks that they drive on power. That sounds like bullying. If your army is so big and powerful, then all you do is bully smaller countries. You're essentially a bully. You don't have the ability to negotiate. You don't have the ability to have a conversation on economic might. You're using your military might to bully much smaller countries. So I believe America, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris should run on a narrative that we're going to reduce the size of the military, because the size of the American military is bloated. It is 25 times bigger than the next 100 times bigger than the next 25 countries, developed countries. That is ridiculous. Why do you need that kind of military for? You don't have a need for that. The budget for the U.S. military is just outrageous, and there's not a single person able to talk about these issues and say, let's cut down the size of this military to reflect the size of America, and take that money and invest in healthcare. We need to bring down obesity. We need to have our kids have conscious meals and have healthy school plans, exercise and good meals in elementary and middle school. We need to have this conversation. So I would I would I would hope that the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden agenda could shift from Obamacare, which was a I would consider a semi-failed policy to a universal Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren type progressive agenda for universal health care for all. I shouldn't go to the hospital and pay $10,000, $20,000 for hospital bills. That's just crazy. So there's that. And the economy, how do we bring the economy back? How do we stimulate the economy? Every president has had to stimulate the economy. Trump gave out a $1,200 check for people who were making under $75,000 or $78,000 after taxes. So um, that was just money that was going to get people back. It didn't stimulate the economy. A lot of people used it to buy from Amazon, and I don't think that he had the design. So there's a second. They're considering a second a stimulus check to boost the economy. So they're going to have to, and they've given out a lot of loans. So if you're a small business out there struggling, and they're giving out a lot of loans right now to help with paychecks and everything. So that is one good thing that Trump has done. I don't think it's enough. I think they need to give us more money as they gave to the smaller guy, as they gave to the billionaires and the millionaires. They're the ones who took the fat checks, and the smaller guys are being handed a couple of thousands of dollars. And if you have to pay five employees in your small ice cream joint, in your small glass glass business, that is not gonna cut it. So we need to have a big stimulus check, and I see that in the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris plan, that there's gonna be a huge about a $2 trillion bill to reboost the economy, bring the American economy out of the struggle that it is right now, and raise the American economy. So we need to do that short term and make sure that everybody's able to start getting work. Some of those companies are opening up and re-employing those people who have been out of work for 6 months, because we need these people contributing. We need these people paying taxes. So that is part of the economic plan in the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris agenda. And when you look at that, you see a plan. And I will ask people who are supporting Trump, what is the plan for Trump? What are they promoting? What is the economic agenda for Trump to bring the U.S. economy back to its glory days? They have a mantra of "Make America Great Again." It's been 3.5 years. Is America great again? Have they been? Have they? Is this what the greatness of America was supposed to be? I mean, how do you consciously vote for somebody when you cannot measure? And you have to take into consideration that it's America. Disasters happen, catastrophes happen, emergencies happen. So the coronavirus happening is just like 9/11 happening. Things happen to the U.S. economy, and they need a president who is sane, who is all hands on deck, and who is able to handle emergency situations as they happen. There's not been a single American president who has not had to deal with some kind of emergency situation. And we're seeing that Trump has failed completely at every angle at handling this coronavirus. So it's been an abysmal. Thank you for that interlocation and commercial break. So I have a question that came in. How relevant is this poll right now? We saw similar poll numbers in 2016. Needless to say, what the results of the election turned out to be a very good reaction. Um, it's America. Polls are going to be conducted. Uh, there was something back in, I think, 1984. It was termed the Bradley effect. The Bradley effect was Americans saying that they're going to vote for somebody, and then when they get to the election poll, they voted for somebody else. And I think that you cannot discount that in this election, but you still need to have polls. We cannot have an election without polls to understand the health of the country, how people are reacting to stuff. But white, especially white America, has a tendency to line to pollsters to have because they don't want to be seen as voting for Trump. I think that the polls are closer than what they are right now. For me, I'm gonna say it's tie right now. That's where I'm at. I'm putting Joe Biden. In fact, I'm putting Trump. If Joe Biden is leading Trump in any poll, I'm putting it as a reverse because I've noticed that America has always lied in polls and done the opposite. So if Joe Biden is 51 and Trump is 40, 47 or 45 or 30 something, he has been trending in that 38 and low 40s right now. I would reverse that because I want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to understand that they have so much work. They have an uphill task. They have a monumental task of trying to convince rural America, evangelicals, and poor white folks that listen, you cannot keep voting against your own interests. You cannot keep voting to have the opportunity to go to college for free. You cannot keep voting against the ability to have a national healthcare system that benefits you. You cannot keep voting against climate change. The climate is terrible right now. We have uh, uh, the ozone layer eating up and being destroyed at crazy rate. You cannot keep voting against taxes for the rich and thinking that it's a trickle down economic system. You have to vote for your own taxes. We cannot keep having minority black people in inner city neighborhoods voting for Republican agendas or Democratic agendas that don't favor them. You have to pick an agenda that works for you. And in this case, we need black people to start making $15 an hour. We need black people to start seeing a criminal justice system that favors blacks and white evenly. It's not a narrative. We should have that for criminals who have committed crimes, but we cannot have that as a measure to say this is where we want to push the black population. We want to remove black population from the criminal justice system. We want lesser of black people committing crimes. We want more black people starting businesses. We want more black people being employed. We want more black people staying employed. We want more black people growing up within the ladder. We need to see color. We need to see more black CEOs. We need to see more black entrepreneurial ownership, more black owned banks. We need to see more black grocery stores. We need to see the black inner cities transform into little Eldorados. And that's not always going to happen because some guy in the White House is going to come fix these things for you. We as a community, part of that community, we are going to we're going to stand up and vote and get counted and get represented. When you don't vote, the neighbor is going to vote for you and the neighbor is going to make decisions for you. And you cannot be upset because if I have to make decisions for you, I will make decisions for my interest and that will be imposed on you as your own interest. So it is imperative that blacks, Latinos, and Asians come out and vote massively in this election. It's not an election cycle where we could sit back and say, I'm not gonna cast my vote because Kamala Harris's grandmother or Kamala Harris' grandfather was not black. This is not that election. This is not that election where we have the luxury to sit back and just do TikTok videos and make comedy and this is not it. everybody that is eligible to vote should be making sure, especially in the last week, we saw that Trump had appointed a superintendent for the post office that has started meddling with post office activities that would have massive, massive consequences in the election. Because with the coronavirus, we're thinking the election is going to be all through ballot boxes. And most people are not going to be comfortable going to the polls and trying to and catch the coronavirus. So the majority, 80 to 90% of the population are going to vote via the U.S. Postal Service. And Trump has already appointed a major donor to his political run as the superintendent of the post office. And that has cascaded into a series of problems already. So we need everybody to come in massively. When we vote, we have the powers to make demands. We have the powers to make requests. We have the power to hold those we have voted for accountable. So when I talk about universal health care, when we as a minority we vote, we're going to tell Joe Biden and Kamala Harris that our vote is for universal health care. And if you don't give us this, we're not voting for you, or we're voting for somebody in the next election cycle. That is the power of a voting bloc. That is the power of your ability to vote. But you cannot make requests. You cannot make demands. You cannot be upset. You cannot talk about race. You cannot talk about birth. You cannot talk about any agenda in America if you are not a voting citizen. We vote for illegal immigrants. We vote for permanent residents. We vote for people that are not, are not eligible to vote. We make decisions for these people. Next on the list, on the docket here, would be immigration. Of course, in the last 3 years, Trump has deported 5 times more people than Obama did in 8 years. And Obama was known as the deporter in chief. Obama deported, and Obama mostly deported criminals. Now, when Trump came, he continued with the Obama policy of deporting criminals. But then he added that every other person who is here illegally, caught within a context. So if I come into a house and I have a criminal that lives in that house, and in that house there's 4 or 5 other people who are illegals, but they are not criminals, they have no violent history, or they have no crime that they've committed, they are going to be deported. All 7 of them, the 6 people that were found in that house, and the 1 criminal that the ICE officials came to arrest, they are all going to be deported. And we saw how, because of these people have to be deported, they had to take their children and put it in cage. There was a massive protest around the world, in Europe, in Australia, in Asia, in America, about separating children. America is based on family. America is based on the logic that families should come together, not separated. So Trump has deported criminals, which is a good thing. Criminals should be deported. If you're in the US, you shouldn't be hurting people, committing crimes. Our neighborhoods need to be safe. So it's good to deport criminals. But when you start deporting the people who have not committed any crime, America is still a safe haven for a lot of people running from persecution from El Salvador, Honduras, most of Latin America, most of Africa. These people will be illegal because they're crossing all of the Atlantic to come into a safe haven. So they see America as a place where they can find safety and refuge. So there should be a path to citizenship. If you qualify, you get the citizenship. If you don't qualify, if it's proven that you are not really running from any political persecutions, then you can be deported. I would not oppose to that. But criminals, it's a complete hell yes. It's a deportation issue for criminals who are here illegally, right? But people who are here legally, citizens that commit crimes, should not be deported. And Trump has deported some people who are here legally, and their citizenship has been taken away from them, and they've been deported back to their countries of origin. So that is something that the Biden campaign, the Biden and Harris ticket, need to reassure America that they're not going to do a arbitrary deportation. It's going to be for criminals only, hardened criminals. The number is on there, 773-312-0318. We're going to take a 1 minute break and we'll come back and go through questions. For all of you who have questions, please, you can call or you can type in your questions. Let's address them in the last segment of the program. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And this is usually the segment where we go through questions and if any calls to address and talk about issues. And thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the shares. Thank you for being part of this platform. We truly appreciate you. And we'll continue to develop because this platform was born on the premises that this is an important election at the crossroads of our lives. We need to be able to make the right decision. We need to be able to vote the right person because we cannot endure another 4 years of this torment, this divide, this racial inequalities, social injustices, political reforms that need to happen. We cannot have another 4 years of another set of George Floyd's being killed. So we need to, America needs to wake up. America needs to rise. So I have asked, I continue to beg, I continue to implore that if you are eligible to vote, if you have the requirements to vote, please go register, have your registration card, get your ballot set so that once it's the voting time, all you need to do is put in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in that ballot box and ship it off. We have seen the games that are already starting with the post office. Votes are going to start being lost. We're seeing agendas that are being positioned, questioning Kamala Harris' citizenship, birther analysis coming up. So that is the agenda that Trump Pence wants to run about. They don't want to solve your problems. They want to hijack the election. They want to steal the election. They want to use the postal service, an American fabric, just like American pie. That's how important the post office is. They want to use that to win this election. So if you are eligible to vote, you should be registering to vote right now. You should be making sure your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, so that when election time is upon you, you are putting the right candidate. Your vote counts. Every vote counts. Your decision, what you want for yourself, health care, minimum wage, security, national policy. And we're going to make sure that we cannot have a Democratic president going out and starting wars and blowing stuff because, like we said in the segment, we want an army that is responsible. We don't want an army that is starting war across the world because that's where this money is going into instead of investing it in healthcare and alternative energy and all of that kind of stuff that benefits us. So I have a friend who she's been facing a tough time trying to reconcile with picking up Kamala Harris. I've done every possible thing to try to convince her because I don't want to lose that vote to Trump and Pence. Her name is Okabaki Muna. She just gave me a wave. Hi, Okabaki. And I will continue to fight until I can win you over onto the blue team, onto the Biden, onto the Biden-Harris's team, because this election is about you. As a black woman in America, this election is about your kids as little black boys and little black girls in America, because they need an America that looks at them, believes in them, believes that they can aspire and succeed. Your daughter or son should be able to see in Kamala Harris a path where they can rise up without seeing them as thugs and gangs. So Kamala Harris is that role model for our children, our sons and daughters. So this election is so important that people cannot just, for the sake of, I like the way Trump talks. I like the fact that he doesn't talk off the cuff. I like the fact that he's not scared to say what he means. I like the fact that he can say whatever he wants to say. Those are not policies. Those are not things that affect your daily lives. Those are not things that put bread on your table. Those are not things that make you go to bed at night reassured that tomorrow you're going to wake up and there's not going to be a war started. There's not going to be a pandemic. Those are not things that drive America and the world. We need a strong leader. We need a leader who is stable, and Trump is not the guy. On that note, I did not see any questions. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for liking. Continue. We want your businesses. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, please come to Trend African TV so we can promote your business. We can be part of a large family. Without you, we are nothing. So thank you guys and have a nice day. See you on Wednesday.
What it do, my people? It's your boy Kingsley Ego B, aka King the Preacher, aka the Peacemaker, aka the joy of the people is my peace of mind. You are now watching Trend Africa. Don't touch that dial. If you won't touch her, come on there. Keep watching Trend Africa. We are here. Africa has come to stay. Don't touch that dial. One love. Keep watching. Ratata.
Are you looking for photography service for your upcoming event? Is it a wedding, an engagement, or a special event? Look no further. Jojo Texan Images is here. Hire him today for great quality pictures, a quality service provided on the day, and a great personality. Jojo Texan Images is on social media. Follow him Instagram and Facebook at Jojo Texan Images, or call him 312-450-5235 and book your appointments today. Jojo Texan Images. Simply excellent. Book him now.
Hi, my name is Ochiame Kwame the Raptor. Coronavirus is a stubborn one, and because of this small virus, the whole world is on lockdown. But hey, hope is not lost. When you need a doctor, you mustn't go anywhere. All you have to do is to call mobile doctors. They will send a doctor to your home, send a fleb to come and take your blood sample.
I will authorize the pharmacist to bring the medication to your home. Don't go anywhere. Mobile doctors will bring everything to you wherever you are.
If you are looking for a discount, just call and give them this code OKMD and they will give you an amazing discount. Mobile doctors is my choice and I recommend it for you. For more information, log on to www.mobiledoctors.net.
To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.